Everybody, and welcome back to the channel and to the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Eldridge Air Conditioning. This is our final race in the BTCC Replica Championship, which takes place on a Monday evening. We are here for race 2 at Watkins Glen on the short track, 2.45 miles and 7 turns ahead of the guys, and what a fantastic season it's been. We've only got 7 on the grid, but it's still proving to be a good race. Race 1 was a good one, especially between Grasshopper and Brian Moncani. A brilliant battle between those two, and I think it was just the tyres that let Brian Moncani down towards the end. But nevertheless, fantastic racing from Grasshopper. Carried damage around most of the track as well. So a brilliant race from him. So on to race 2, and let's have a look down the grid. Now they start where they finished, so Grasshopper is on pole position. Brian Moncani just behind him in second. Thomas is third. I think Thomas is the only one going to be on soft tyres this time around, but we'll check that in a minute. Rossi is in fourth, Chris is fifth, Hawkeye sixth, and Phaser is seventh. So let's get this final race underway. So we've got 5 lights and we are away. A good start it looked like from Brian Moncani. Grasshopper just a little bit slow off the mark there, and Brian Moncani has managed to get his nose in front already as they hit turn 1. It is Brian Moncani leading Grasshopper, Chris in third. Then we've got Phaser. Fantastic start. Oh, I was just about to say a fantastic start from Phaser, but obviously it wasn't. So let's just see it from Phaser's point of view then, from the start. Rossi just cannot get that Renault off the line, can he? You can see Hawkeye had to really take evasive action to miss him. So as Phaser, as we come into turn 1, Phaser gets himself in between Hawkeye and Thomas. There was a bit of a touchy-feely going on, and oh, poor old Phaser ends up being spun round. Just got himself in a bit of a sandwich there, and well, race over for Phaser. Unfortunately, again, this happened to him at Laguna, didn't he? He's really having a run of bad luck. Back up at the top though, Brian Moncani, as it was in race 1. Brian Moncani and Grasshopper trying to stretch away, and it's Brian leading. Back on the softs again. Grasshopper on the mediums. I thought they had to change tyres. Maybe not. Maybe I've got it completely wrong. But Brian Moncani on the softs, Grasshopper on the mediums, Chris on the softs. Maybe the tyre rule's gone completely out of the window. Rossi in fourth. It just threw me the tyre thing. Rossi has gone for the mediums. Hawkeye has gone for the mediums. Thomas on the softs. Well, we said he was going to be on the softs, didn't we? And then Phaser on the mediums. Now he's got damage at the front and back. So, big slide from Phaser. So if he wants to repair it, he's going to have to come into the pits. Back up at the pointy end though, it is Brian Moncani leading Grasshopper. Now then, Brian Moncani on the soft tyres will have an advantage for the first part of the race. Maybe they can use any tyre they like. It's just that the tyre wear has been ramped right up. So maybe the tyres will wear down a lot. I don't know. Phaser into the pits to get that damage repaired, which is just going to put him even further behind the rest of the field as we come into the inner loop for the second time. And it's Brian Moncani leading Grasshopper, but Grasshopper having a right good look in the boot of Brian Moncani's Atenza. Is it the Atenza? Not the Atenza. It's not the Atenza. What am I on about? It is not the Atenza. I've forgotten what it is again. I'm useless at I'm useless with these cars. Oh, it'll come to me in a minute. But it is not the Atenza. Definitely not. Chris in third, also in another one that we don't know what it is. Rossi in fourth, Hawkeye fifth, Thomas sixth, and Phaser seventh, having to make a pit stop to get that damage repaired. So it'll be interesting to see if he can catch up to Thomas and Hawkeye, but it's a big ask, that is, of Phaser. But if anyone's going to give it a go, he will. It's a Crown Athlete. There we go, I've remembered it. Brian Moncani in the Crown Athlete, trying to fend off the BMW of Grasshopper. these two had a proper ding-dong battle just like this in race 1, and it looks like they've carried it straight through into race 2, and neither willing to give the other one an inch, as Grasshopper gets the better drive, I felt, through the inner loop there, but there was no room to make a move on Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani defending very well. Grasshopper doing a fantastic job, actually. He's on those medium tyres, sitting in the slipstream. He's definitely going to help, but still doing a great job to keep up with that crown athlete of Brian Moncani's on the soft tyres. Oh, bit of a slide there, bit of a drift going on from Grasshopper just to get the car around. Still sitting in the slipstream behind Brian Moncani. We're going to go on board with one of them in a minute, but we can have a look, see what else is happening. Chris is sitting in third at the minute and under no pressure, so Chris, just keep it on the tarmac. Rossi in fourth. He's going to do everything he can to catch up to the back of Chris. Now let's just have a look at the tyre wear. It is starting to go. Rossi on the medium tyres, so they're going to last a bit longer. Then we've got Hawkeye in fifth, Thomas sixth. Thomas carrying a penalty, a 1.5 second penalty as well. So we don't know what's happened to Thomas. We know he came off at the beginning of lap 1, and he's now down in 6 and really struggling to catch up. He's got a 1.5 second penalty as well, so that's going to put him a bit further behind. And then poor old Fazer down in 7th, half a track distance between himself and the rest of the pack. So the race really is on at the sharp end. It is Brian Moncani and Grasshopper. Bit of a gap opening up between the two of them. No damage. So I just thought there might be a bit of damage to Grasshopper's car, but no, he's dropped off. So maybe the soft tyres are really starting to come into their own now with on Brian Moncani's car. Although as they wear down, the mediums of Grasshopper will come into play, and Grasshopper should be able to start catching up again. But for now, he's got to settle for second behind Brian. Oh, what a great drive through the S's that Grasshopper had, and look at that, almost like a slingshot around the outside of Brian Moncani, and into the lead goes Grasshopper. In fact, now I'm going to go back and have another look at this. This was a great move from Grasshopper into turn 2, then 3 in the S's. Now Brian Moncani just seemed to slow down a little bit, and just a great move around the outside for Grasshopper to catapult him into the lead. Brian Moncani, not much he could do about that. Oh, as he gets a bit slidey coming out the exit of the inner loop into the outer loop and turn 5, and a gap started to appear then temporarily, but Brian Moncani back on the power very, very quickly, and using those soft tyres, and he's now putting a challenge in on Grasshopper as he pulls alongside as they come up towards turn 6. And Brian Moncani gets his nose in front again, but Grasshopper still fighting him back into turn 7. It is Brian Moncani just ahead of Grasshopper. Grasshopper having a good old sniff around the rear end of Brian's car, but there is just no way through at the minute. Brian Moncani on the soft compound tyres and putting them to good use at the minute. Grasshopper in second, Chris in third, in no man's land really. He's got no one to play with at the minute. He can just about see the two guys up ahead, but it's a big ask to catch them up the way they're going. Rossi is in fourth, he's all on his own as well. Oh, not quite, Hawkeye is there. Sorry, Hawkeye is there in fifth. Shall we jump on board? Let's go on board with Hawkeye as we go through the S's then into turn 3 and 4, onto the back straight heading towards the inner loop. A quick look behind us, and no, Thomas is a long way off. We just about see him coming around the turn there. So into the inner loop we go then with Hawkeye, keeping everything nice and clean, no penalties to be picked up there. Onto the outer loop at turn 5, this long sweeping right-hander, and it does look like Hawkeye is gaining on Rossi just a few more meters and he'll be in the slipstream and may be able to catch up to the back of Rossi through turn 6. Oh no, just about held on to it. hoping he doesn't pick up. Oh no, he's got one. He's picked a penalty up there, and that was because he broke track limit. So half a second for Hawkeye. That was unlucky. Thomas down in 6th. Really not got into this race, has he? Thomas, I expected him to be right up there at the front on those soft tyres, but didn't have the best of starts and never really recovered. So poor old Thomas down in 6th, with Fazer, who's had even worse luck, is down in 7th. Back up to the top though, and these two still glued to each other. It is Brian Moncani who is leading Grasshopper. So Brian Moncani, let's have a look at those tyres of his. Looking okay at the minute. We're not quite halfway yet, but they are looking okay at the minute. Grasshopper, plenty left in his tyres. He is on the mediums though. This is a fantastic race between these two. Brian Moncani currently the fastest man on track, a 1:13.0. Let's have a look what Grasshopper's was. His fastest is a 1:13.5, so 5 tenths off the quickest lap of Brian Moncani's. His last lap was a 1:14.3. Brian Moncani did a 1:14.2, so only 1/10 in it at the minute between these two. Chris really is in no man's land. As I said before, he can just about see the guys up ahead, but he can't quite catch up with them. Rossi sitting in 4th, then Hawkeye in 5th, Thomas 6th, and Fazer 7th. So no battles actually apart from these, so we might as well just stay with these two for a minute or two. In fact, we'll jump on board with Grasshopper as we're chasing Brian Moncani up towards turn 6 for the 8th time in this final race here at Watkins Glen on the short track. Into turn 7. Oh, a good exit from Grasshopper, but Brian Moncani starts to pull away, and then we go into turn 1. Nice little heads-up display there for Grasshopper on the windscreen. I'm not sure he's actually bothered how fast he's going. The fact that he's behind Brian is bothering more than anything. But again, a good exit out of the S's and into the slipstream, and you can see how much it is pulling him up towards Brian Moncani. Now Brian defending the inner loop as he moves to the right, then it is through the inner loop. Now then, Grasshopper can hardly see where he's going. Oh, there's contact. There was contact. Let's get out. I've gone back too far, but never mind. Oh, I'm having trouble sorting the cameras out today, aren't I? So we did see Grasshopper get very, very close to Brian Moncani as they come up towards the inner loop. Brian Moncani defending it. Now it's on the exit. I think there may have been contact there, just a bit of a touch, and that puts Grasshopper onto the grass, but a good recovery. Oh, nevertheless, I'm sure if that was me, I'd have been still spinning, but Grasshopper has managed to keep the car pointed in the right direction and back on track. Now he has lost a few tenths from Brian Moncani, but he's going to keep pushing, and I'm sure he's going to soon catch that back up. We'll just see what's happening elsewhere with Chris in 3rd. Rossi in 4th. Now then, we could have a little bit of a battle going on here. Rossi in 4th at the minute, but we've got Hawkeye and Thomas closing in on him. Thomas starting to get himself into this race now. Decided he's going to have a bit of a battle. Not with the leaders, unfortunately, for him, but he's going to have a fight with Hawkeye and Rossi. We are just gone over the 11.5 minute mark. So what's that now? 8.5 minutes to go. So plenty of time for Thomas. He's got some nitrous left. Hawkeye's got more. He's got over half a tank. Well, just under half a tank, as he's just giving a quick burst. And Rossi as well. He's also hitting the nitrous button now. He realises the danger that's coming up behind him, and he's used that nitrous to good effect to get him up the hill and through the S's and onto this back straight. So Rossi now putting in the purple sectors, and that was a good move from Rossi. I like that idea. He's using the nitrous to get him up the hill and onto the straight. Hawkeye in 5th, and now Thomas going to start applying some pressure. So we jump on board with Thomas then. Let's sit in the passenger seat and we can whisper into Thomas's ear, go faster, go faster. Oh, and he's listening to us as we approach turn 7. Now then, looking for a good exit into the slipstream of Hawkeye, pulls to the right, gives Hawkeye a wave as he goes by and heads down towards turn 1. Into the braking zone then, through turn 1. Good turn, and then hitting the nitrous. Now then, this is where Rossi used his nitrous last time to get him up the hill. Is Thomas doing the same? No, he's not. He's decided to hold on to what little nitrous he's got left. Oh, it's Hawkeye. I can see him in the mirrors. Hawkeye fighting back up towards the inner loop, and Thomas just keeps his nose in front of Hawkeye, but Hawkeye fighting back. He doesn't want to give up that P5 very easily, does he? And all the while these two are fighting, then Rossi can just creep that little further forward. We have about 6 minutes, just over 6 minutes of this race left, and some fantastic racing taking place. He's not at the front. There is some fantastic racing at the front, but there's some fantastic racing at the back as well. Now then, look at the tyres from Thomas. As I say, we've got 6 minutes to go, and he's over 50% of wear on his front left, so Thomas got to be very careful with those tyres. Hawkeye on the medium, so he's okay. Fazer a long way back, and race was over for him almost before it got started. Brian Moncani on the side. Oh, we just saw Grasshopper coming in like a wrecking ball. Managed to avoid the contact, and it is really putting right underneath that rear wing of Brian Moncani's Crown Athlete car. But Brian Moncani just holding on to P2. What a P1. What a great battle these two are having. They must be absolutely loving it out there. You can see Grasshopper practically pushing Brian Moncani along. Brian Moncani trying to be as wide as he can and stop Grasshopper making a move on him. He's in the middle of the track, so Brian will hit turn 1 first. Nowhere to go for Grasshopper. Oh, now then, did Brian Moncani, did he cross that track line? No, he didn't. So half a second penalty for Brian Moncani. That is going to put a big old smile on Grasshopper's face. Brian Moncani on the soft tyres, and he's just about 50% wear, maybe just a little bit more. Grasshopper would love to get by Brian Moncani before we get to the penalty zone, but if he doesn't, he will definitely take the lead of this race as they go through the inner loop into turn 5 in the outer loop. You can see that Brian Moncani is just about to serve his penalty at the exit of turn 5. Grasshopper pulls to the right because he knows he is going to go through. Brian Moncani serves that penalty, and now he's back on the power and tries to get into the slipstream of Grasshopper. A bit of a slide from Grasshopper's BMW as he comes around turn 6, but manages to keep it facing the right direction. It is now Grasshopper leading Brian Moncani with 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes to go. A quick look down the field. Chris still in no man's land at the minute, in 3rd position. I'm sure he won't mind, he'll take 3rd. Rossi in 4th. He's got Thomas getting ever closer to him. Thomas on the soft tyres, but they are about gone. That Focus really does like to eat through these soft tyres, especially when the tyre wear is ramped up. But Thomas nevertheless is going to keep on pushing with about just over 3 minutes to go. Hawkeye in 6th, dropped off the pace a little bit with Fazer all the way down at the back, and may even get lapped by Grasshopper and Brian Moncani. We shall see. At the minute though, it is Grasshopper with a couple of car lengths lead over Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani, having served that penalty on the last lap, is what gave Grasshopper the opportunity to take up the lead of this race. Thomas not quite caught up to Rossi yet, but he's given it a good go. But the trouble is, Thomas is going to start to lose grip. Well, he's losing grip now, isn't he? There's hardly anything left on that front left tyre of his, with 2.5 minutes to go. So we're looking at another couple of laps actually for Thomas. It's going to be close as to whether he's got any grip left at all. The back up at the top, Grasshopper. Where are we now? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Grasshopper has got to hold on to the lead to take the win here at Watkins, using every inch of this track and doing a fantastic job actually, and not picking up loads of penalties. That's what cost Brian on the couple of laps ago. It was breaking the track limits. Cost him half a second penalty, which is why Grasshopper managed to get by, and he's looking to open up the gap now as Brian Moncani starts to lose grip on the front left. Chris in third. His tyre's not looking too clever either, but he's not under any pressure whatsoever, so he can afford to nurse that car back and across the line as we come up towards the final minute. Thomas really pushing Rossi now. Rossi currently holding on to fourth on the medium tyres. Thomas on the softs, although very, very worn, especially the front left, as Thomas looks to make a move through the final few turns onto the start-finish straight. And Thomas really he's definitely up the chuff of Rossi now. Is he going to make a move into turn one? He's having a bit of a look up the inside, isn't he? But no, backs out at the last minute. Allows Rossi to keep hold of P4. Thomas looking to look for a good exit out of the S's, maybe get the move done before they get to the inner loop. We're just trying to keep an eye on where the other guys are. Let's have a look. Grasshopper just approaching. We're going to stay with Grasshopper now because he is getting near to the end. So Grasshopper around turn 6 then. This is going to be a good win for him. It was hard fought. Brian couldn't do any more to hold Grasshopper off. So Grasshopper is going to come across. No, he's going to get one more lap in. I think Grasshopper's going to get one more lap in. He is. Now then, it's Brian. Yes. So Chris is going to be the first one to finish then, as he comes around the final turn. And I'm just keeping an eye on that leaderboard. Rossi is just still managing to hold on to fourth. So Chris across the line for third to take a glass of champagne. Rossi just holding Thomas off to take P4. Good effort from Thomas across the line in fifth. Hawkeye across in sixth. Fazer, now then, he refused to be lapped in race one, and it looks like he's going to do the same again. He is in seventh. Really unlucky for Fazer. I mean, well done to Fazer for staying on the track and seeing the race to the end. But he had a disaster of a start. This happened to him at Laguna as well. But we're just going to follow Fazer through the final turn 7. He is better than this. We all know that. He's just been very, very unlucky, but Fazer across the line to take 7th, and as we can see, Grasshopper across the line to take the win, and a fantastic win, second of the day. Well done to him. And Brian Moncani will eventually, after a bit of showboating, will cross the line in second. Some fantastic racing from these guys. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and we look forward to whatever it is they come up with next.